welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy, and today I wanted to tell you all about the project that I'm doing. I'm very excited. I am taking my apartment off grid. What does this mean exactly? I really want to have a homestead. At this point in time, we only live in about a 900 square foot apartment. So the space that we have is pretty limited, and because it is a multi-family private home, we do have a backyard space, which I'm very grateful for because I can grow all of this wonderful food that you see behind me. We do have a basement, which is where a lot of this is going to be going. Just the whole idea is to take the apartment off grid, or at least to the extent possible within the constraint of my lease. By the end of the project, everything in terms of what we pay for when it comes to utility will be regenerative, or at least to the extent that we don't pay for it, as we currently don't pay for water or waste disposal. As well, because compost is not really a good idea for where we live, I will be getting compost done through a service. When it comes to electric, food, everything else is going to be regenerative and sustainable. We will be putting the apartment on solar. It'll be more of a portable setup so that we can take it from here to other places if we happen to move. It is possible that at one point with this project, once a lot of the main bigger stuff is all done, I would like to eventually be on a point where we aren't dependent on city water, because we do have mountain spring water, and I am also interested in learning more about rainwater collection. So at some point that may be a feature of this whole project, but for now it doesn't cost us anything. The more that we can get our utilities off the grid, the more money that we'll save in the long term. If I can grow food year round, solar constantly going, that's money that we can save to be able to move somewhere else. In today's day and age, it is really expensive to live anywhere. This project is also to help protect us a little bit from the economic downturn. I do have a lot of concern for how much things are going to cost, especially because we are working class. We don't make a lot of money to begin with. This is just a buffer to protect ourselves a little bit from any costs that may be increased in the future. If some of you are watching and you are sort of in a similar place, you can get some inspiration from this. Hopefully be encouraged to do it for yourself. Overall, I feel like farming and homesteading and just doing DIY projects that help to, one, make your life more affordable and also involve nature in the process can be very therapeutic. I want to break down the 3 phases of this plan to you guys, so that way it's nice and simple and condensed. Getting the indoor tent set up is the main priority of this phase, and I'll show you guys in just a little bit here what my supplies are. I have them down in the basement. We'll show you where the space is going to be, but that's getting the tent raised, getting the lights hanging, and getting the ventilation installed. Thankfully, I have everything already. I got a little bit lucky with this last paycheck and was able to get the last bits of phase 1 taken care of. It's just a matter of getting the basement cleaned up and ready to go. Then there's phase 2, aquaculture. Starting off in this tent, I'm going to have mainly container-based plants. Between phase 1 and phase 2, of course, once the tent is set up, I will be moving a lot of the plants that I currently have outside, inside. So I will be having my potatoes, a lot of my staple crops. Once the weather starts to cool down, the banana will go in there because it can't really go below 50 degrees without starting to suffer. Rather than it going dormant for the winter months, I'm just going to put it in the tent, so that way hopefully by about January we'll have bananas. I'm making video.
Oh, hi video.
That is husband. During this phase, I will be adding a hydroponic feature to the tent where I will be integrating both vertical farming and NFT hydroponics. Initially, I will just have this hooked up to a pump, but my plan is to also install an aquarium. Yeah, I have a 55-gallon aquarium. I think just to start off, I'm going to start small with just a few tilapia, because that isn't enough space for really more than, I'd say, 5 or 6 comfortably. I don't want to overcrowd the tank or have any issues with ammonia, especially because I've never done anything with aquaculture before. I've seen some horror stories where people have one of their females in the tank gets pregnant, and all of a sudden they have a shit ton of fish that I just cannot afford to currently maintain. Once that's a little bit more established and I feel like I know what I'm doing and the plants are thriving and the fish are thriving, I think I will eventually scale up and have more. I might do that in the future. I just haven't decided yet, and that might be a next summer kind of project. And then there's phase 3, which of course is solar. I initially want to put the tent and of course the aquaponics system on solar, and to get that done as soon as possible, I am using LED lights so that hopefully won't spike my power. So somewhere in between like aquaculture and getting the initial tent set up, I'm going to try as fast as I can to get the solar set up. I eventually want it to get to a point where I've got this whole system set up. It's not costing me anything to pay for the electricity or any of the other costs that might go into that. I'm hoping that this is only going to take 2 years tops. At the rate at which I have gotten everything for phase 1 and phase 2, because this wonderful woman who I got the fish tank from on Facebook the other day, I initially was gonna get this 55-gallon tank for free. It's just been sitting, occupying her garage. When I showed up, I asked if she happened to have a filter. She did have a really nice Duval canister for the tank. She sold it to me for 50 bucks. She ended up giving me all of her tank supplies. So I got several $100s worth of fish tank supplies, all for 50 bucks. Like when I was writing this video, like the script for this video about a week ago, I did not have everything already for phase 1. I didn't even have anything near close to phase 2, and I was thinking this was gonna take me 6 months having to save, having to get all the different materials, and there's gonna be all these other little things. It suddenly fast forwarded this project so quickly. I don't like F-Book personally, just because it's got a lot of issues. But when it comes to the marketplace, the amount that you can get for free or super cheap, I got this thing. This is a cast iron chimenea. If you try to buy a chimenea online, especially one that's gonna be cast iron, you're gonna be looking at paying like $200 or $300. So I got this for $25. I got a 3D printer completely free. It only has like a few errors that I have to figure out how to fix that are apparently common issues. I'm going to be able to print out vertical towers and a lot of the components that I need for the NFT hydroponics. This is something that I got completely for free, and I got the filament and everything that I needed with it too. I wasn't expecting quite nearly this abundance of having the things that I need for the project already. I'm looking at the 6 to 9 months in the future, probably, of this all being done. I will also leave a PDF of everything in the comments of what I have purchased, what I will be purchasing. I do accept donations with anything if anybody does want to help out with getting this all together. But I'll also leave the Amazon wish list, not just for that, but if anyone who is watching wants to buy all the things that I'm buying, follow along by doing their own thing. I'm going to be going through each phase. When I do start to set things up, I will be showing the overall tent setup and doing a video on that. I will be doing it when I start integrating the aquaculture and hopefully make a little bit of a series out of that. Also when I get the solar set up, because I feel like these are all really big projects that if I can do it, if I can figure out how to do this, and I'm broke as frick, making only a little bit above minimum wage, and I'm making something like this possible, I want to help out to show y'all that you can do this too, because I think it's really important that we start, not only for the sake of the economy, but also for the sake of our own overall well-being as a society, to start bringing our resources back to local a little bit more. What better than local than in your own house or in your backyard? That's kind of the direction that I want to go with this channel, is to show people what's possible, what they're capable of when it comes to gardening and even having a little bit of a mini farm in their own home. So let me take you on a tour, because I want to show what everything I have currently looks like. And I did say in my last video that I was going to do a little outdoor garden tour. I figured why not just combine that video and this one into one and show y'all what my garden looks like outside. Let go. Down here, I've got my butternut squash. As you can see, I've got a few starting to pop up. It's really freaking big. I wasn't expecting it to grow quite this big, where it kind of has taken over the entire garden space. But she's killing the game. Love that. Lots of butternut squash. I've got a bag full of potatoes. This is pretty much how I'm going to have the potatoes in the grow tent. This is a 10-gallon fabric tote. It has 4 different cut potatoes in it currently. I'm not sure if the others are going to come up. I think that this one right here is actually one of the ones that I planted late. I don't think the other one that I planted late will come up, but altogether I should get about 5 or 6 potatoes between each one. Because of that, since there's 3 plants in there, I should have about anywhere from 15 to 18 potatoes just in that one bag. And so I'm planning to have a few of these bags, if not to eventually level up to 20-gallon tote, because they don't take up a lot of space. That's probably only about a foot diameter, maybe a little bit over. And I can grow a lot of potatoes in one small space like that. Over here, I've got my Roma Tomatoes. She's kind of all splayed out like that, but I've gotten a lot of abundance from her this season. She's been popping out a lot of tomatoes. I have way too many tomatoes now. As you can see in the center, I had some corn plants. I pretty much already harvested them for the season. Right here is my dwarf grandnan banana. She actually had a little baby up there. So down here, this is like the end of my tomato plant. I did not cage anything this year. I sort of regret it because I think it impacted the overall crop. There are like new flowers starting to pop over here. I think next year I need to cage up a little bit. It'll also be a little bit easier to maintain this space because my downstairs neighbor's building the patio, and once the patio is all built up, it'll make it a lot easier to put more of like a bed system going on rather than relying on all the containers, having to use plastics for holding everything. I want to get something that's at least a little bit more refined next year. Over here, I have my herb container. I found this on the side of the street, and that oregano has been growing ever since. I have some sage, Greek mullein, second year kale, that's kind of all done. Strawberries, and I've got my big bucket of raspberries. She's staying outside year round. And my beans did not do very well this year. Got my mugwort. This beauty came from a farm that I used to work at. I'm not sure what the name of it is. It got it for pollinators because I really needed some at some point. I was having a lot of trouble with getting any bees or any butterflies or anything to my garden, so I had to bring in some flowers. And my lovely friend Kelly gave these to me. Then I've got some lemon balm popping up. I've got my vertical tower here. She did not do much this year because I just didn't prioritize vertical nearly as much as I wanted to. The vertical tower will be put way more into use next year, especially once I can print out the rest of the towers. I've also got my green peppers. I've been getting a lot of green peppers this year. I've been putting them in my eggs every day, and it's freaking delicious. So now I want to take you guys into the basement so I can show you where the space essentially is going to be. I will show y'all as well everything that I currently have so far. Let's go. It's really creepy down here. I don't normally like coming down here because it's freaking creepy. Welcome to my basement. It's a mess. I'm currently in the process of clearing it out. There's a lot that I'm listing currently right now. Furniture and stuff, but it's taking up too much space, and I want somebody else to carry out of here, whether it's for free or I get a little bit of money out of it. Any little bit that can get me to the end of this project sooner. But it is a decent amount of space. I'm not going to show the second half of the basement just because that's more Matt's side. This is going to be more my side, or his and hers spaces. It's going to be probably either in this area or it's going to be like over here. I just haven't gotten to a point of completely figuring it out yet. I still have to clear everything out, and that's the biggest thing that I have to do before I really get everything started. This is me putting my mess on the internet so that y'all can hold me accountable. But it's also hard too because there's a lot of things that I can't get rid of that are like homesteading supplies. Like I have like my canner, our grill, a bunch of other stuff that overall need, or it's like winter clothes that are sitting there. So I also have to organize it. There's a ton of room down here. One of the things that I do have to manage is pest control, because that is one thing that I'm very concerned about in terms of an overall challenge of managing this space, because we do have, of course, a lot of bugs, got spiders and stuff in the rafters. I need to keep that pretty maintained. Upstairs, we're currently having a fungus gnat problem and a mouse problem. We're working on maintaining that because that may pose a challenge to this. I don't want any mice getting into my crops. I don't want any issues with more mice coming into the house or any other pests that might be coming in. So I want to share with y'all everything that I got for the project. Down here on the floor is the 9x4 grow tent. Please don't mind the collection of dryer sheets. I don't know why we haven't thrown those away. This is the 55-gallon tank that I was so graciously given by the one woman the other day who gave me all of the aquarium supplies that she had on hand. Here are all of the supplies. So starting off, the jars have nothing to do with anything. They are just here because I'm trying to keep my homestead stuff sort of separate from all of the basement accumulation. So this is the carbon filter for the tent. It is an 8-inch AC Infinity carbon filter. It is going to connect up to this cloud line ventilation system. It is the climate control, humidity, temperature control system for the tent. One of the things that I want to make sure about the tent is that everything can be controlled from my phone. I want it to be completely, something that I can maintain and be aware of what's going on in terms of tracking the overall, climate of the system and whether the power's on through my phone. So I'm going to be getting the little outlets that you can connect them to like Alexa and all those different things, but you don't have to. You can just do it through the app, but I'm just gonna do that. I already get targeted as it is enough. I don't really crave having a smart home, but I like the idea of having certain futuristic technologies be how I maintain the quality of life in my home. What's cool about this is it also allows for that sort of smart home capability without like the centralized intelligence of a bigger corporation. So this I control through an app, so I can just check when I'm at work to see what's the temperature, is it functioning, like is it on even, what's the humidity level at, which then connecting it to this, which is the 8-inch ventilation that hooks up to the filter, runs up to the window. And because we have windows that they're really weird, like you can't slide them or anything, either push in or out. I got this, which is a universal air seal. You open the window out, stick this to it, and then it zips around the air vent hole. So these are the grow lights that I got for the tent. I got 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to need more than 2 just because these are 1,000 watts each. They are full spectrum. I'm going to connect these up to the outlets that I'm going to get of the ones that you can do through like an app on your phone, so that way I can always know if there's power going to that outlet. This is a Fluval 406. She said she only used it for a short period of time. It's a completely pretty much brand new like $200 or $300 filter. The fact that I can save that money makes me so happy because then I can just put it towards other parts of the project. But then I have like also all of the supplies that she gave me. There's like filters and tubing, and I actually haven't gone through this already. There's like carbon pellets. Like this is my first time actually looking through these bags because they've just been sitting in the basement pretty much since I got them. There's all the cleaning supplies. I don't know if I'm actually going to use this. I know I need to do something to keep the water managed, but I don't know if it's a good idea for me to use this just because it's chemicals, and if I'm going to be eating the fish, I don't know if these are chemicals that would necessarily be safe for me. I imagine if they're safe for fish, it would be fine, but I want to do my research, especially because like one thing I would like to do with the tank is to go for more of aquascaped tank, you know, something that's actually self-cleaning and self-preserving that balances all the different nutrient or toxin levels. If I can do something that's sort of self-preserving, I'd rather do that than use the chemicals. I don't even know if I'm going to use that. You have a pump. She also has this for fry, thankfully, and hopefully not get so many tilapia that I fry and have a mental breakdown because there's too many tilapia. Oh, I didn't see this. I don't think this is for picking up fish. I got this apparently. I'm guessing this is if things start to fall over in the tank, reaching inside the tank without having to dip your whole arm in there. Yeah, this looks like there's algae and stuff, like all sorts of stuff. I guess she was keeping loaches, cichlids. I used to work at PetSmart, so I recognize a lot of this stuff. Different stuff to like clean it, like all the supplies that I pretty much need to get this whole project pretty much taken care of. Phase 1, I have absolutely everything. Now that that's out of the way, I can work on the aquaponics, work on getting the 3D printer set up, work on getting things 3D printed, getting the solar ready, actually see this project through. I'm really freaking excited for this just because like last year I worked on a farm, and for pretty much since the pandemic started up until I'd say like fall of last year, I became just obsessed with the idea of like homesteading, foraging, doing just all sorts of different things with plants. I just became obsessed with learning like the actual medicinal, like, researched aspect of like medicinal and just plants in general and how it applies to nutrition and to pharmacology nowadays. And as well, just the idea of being able to take care of myself with plants by growing my own food, by being able to forage my own food and learning about mushrooms, how to identify mushrooms that you can eat. I feel like it just turned into this obsession of like, how can I do this all the time? Last year, during the winter time, I was so depressed. I was really dealing a lot with just overall seasonal depression because I found so much of my excitement and the things that I enjoyed doing are during the summertime, doing like foraging and everything. I can only do that when it's warm out because when it's cold, there's nothing. And so I didn't really know, you know, you can't really grow food outside during the winter time. And so I feel like this is something that I really need
need, because the idea of being able to take care of plants year round, have a garden year round, and to be able to grow my own food year round, and then also be able to do these things like solar and aquaponics, being able to share this journey with the internet and with people who I know who might watch this video. I feel like it's something that I just feel like I kind of need. Show the world that these things are possible, that it's not totally unattainable if you're balling on a budget. If you're not in a place where you have a lot of money but you need these resources, or you don't have a ton of space. I don't have a ton of space. I know that other people have even less space than me, but I feel like there's ways that we can integrate more of these little micro environments, more of these little micro spaces that have food, that have the resources that we need, so that they can be public access for everybody. I feel like some of it just starts with trying these different things at home and trying out these different projects. I'm excited to see where this is going to take me, because it does offer up a lot of options where every single year I can look back at what it is that I've done in previous years that made my crops so successful, or, you know, how can I advance, especially having a 3D printer, the possibilities that come with that, and how I can advance or make any contribution to the growing technology that is ag tech. I feel like there's a lot of potential that we can have food all over the place in these little environments, that it becomes affordable or completely accessible, that it's free, and also just to teach people in the process. Ever since I started doing anything related to plants or anything related to survival, I've impacted quite a few people where they've started looking into plants, or they've become obsessed with plants and growing their own food, and the ability to just share this knowledge and to inspire people to do something different and to do something that makes them happy. That's all I want to share. It's what I hope that this channel can become. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, please let me know in the comments. It's something that I just want to do to inspire the world. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye!